Hey guys, Seth Cole here of the NASCAR Sports Channel, and welcome to my, my opinions, I guess you will, of this season's, the 2019 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series paint schemes. Now, this video is being recorded on the 5th of February. Obviously, there's a number of schemes that haven't yet been released, of teams that are planning on running in the Daytona 500 and for the season and everything. But, we're right on the almost a week away. We are actually a week away from the shootout and the clash, whatever you want to call it. I'm old school. I'm still used to calling it the Bud Shootout. But I figured this is the good time to be able to do it. I am going to say, too, this is not my original idea. I'm kind of piggybacking off of Double E Dude Eric Epstein's thing, where he basically went through a bunch of paint schemes that had been released, went through photos, and gave his opinions. But I'm doing this a little bit different. I'm doing it with a little bit of a twist. For those of you that may or not know, I am a painter on NR 2003. So I'm going to actually take these things and I'm going to rate these on a scale of 1 star to 5 stars on what I feel as a painter these schemes should be rated. Whether they are good, whether they're bad, whether they could have a little bit more done, whether they, maybe have too much. We're going to find out, what my opinion is on that. Doesn't mean I'm right, it's merely my opinion, and let me know what you think is your favorite paint scheme that's been released so far down in the comments below. I'm rocking the Casey Mears 2007 hat because I just found out today that my main man is coming back in a second ride for the Daytona 500, number 27 for Germain Racing. Super excited about that. Unfortunately, we've just gotten the announcement, so I don't know what the sponsor, I don't know what the paint scheme is going to be, but looking forward to seeing what it's going to be. So unfortunately, it doesn't get featured in this video, but you know what? There it is. So let's take a look and see what these paint schemes are like. Alright, so Kurt Busch's number 1 Monster Energy Chevrolet making the move over to Chip Ganassi Racing. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be really honest with you about this. I honestly would like to see a little bit more green on the Monster Energy paint schemes. Usually when people ask me for a Monster Energy paint scheme, I give them a lot of black, a lot of white, a lot of green, usually a light shade green, a dark shade green, focusing around the logo. While this scheme seems simple, I think that a thing that brings it out is the fact that it's not completely black. It's kind of like a stealth black. So I do like that. To me, though, it's a little too simple. It needs to have a little bit more panache. The fact that it's just a simple green outline around the 1 rather than maybe like a black outline around the 1 with a green outline around the black outline to kind of make it jump out at you. I kind of wish there was a little bit more than that. The Monster Energy logo, if you look at his uniform, it's a brighter green than it is on the logo on the side of the car. Why didn't they go with a neonish green look on the car? I don't know. While this scheme is not horrible, it really could use a little bit more, so for Kurt Busch, I'm giving this a 3 out of 5 as far as a star rating. Now we go to a gear wrench. This is a sponsor that, of course, Jamie McMurray had last season as well. They're coming back and sponsoring Kurt Busch. Now, unfortunately, we don't really have a good look at the side of the car and everything. However, this, to me, is more of what I would look for in the Monster Energy car. You've got the gear wrench main colors, white, black, and orange, and that's all featured here on the hood. The thing that I find a little bit interesting, I'm going to probably be talking a lot about this, is it seems like whoever does this painting for the Camaros, they don't really get a great concept of what they need to do as far as painting the hood. They'll paint around the hood, above the headlights, back to the windshield, as far as that being the hood. And for some reason, it just looks really cramped together. However, I don't know if it's just the way that the camera angle is with taking this photo or everything, but I like the way that this looks. I really wish I could have seen the side, so if I'm just having to base it off the hood alone, I'd give this a 4 out of 5. It's a pretty good looking scheme. Next up, we've got Brad Keselowski. Now, not much changing here in terms of how the scheme looks. We do have a little bit of a gold outline on the blue down around the side skirts, which I like, and then it transitions into the red, which I'm guessing is a kind of a, well, I don't know if Miller Lite doesn't really have red in their logo, so I'm wondering if it's maybe a little bit of a toss to the Discount Tire sponsorship, which is also down there, just in front of the left and right rear wheels. You've got the outline as well around the 2, so I guess that's where that plays in as well. I love the fact that, and I think Eric talked about this as well, how for some reason, what looked just as good on the Ford Fusions last year looked amazing on the Mustangs this year, and it definitely does. There's no doubt about that. But the fact of the matter is, this is same old for Brad Keselowski. There's nothing completely brand new about it if you're comparing it to last year's scheme. So since it's just the same old status quo, I'm going to just basically give it a right down the middle 3 out of 5 stars, because it's not horrible, but there's nothing really different about it. So how can I give it a better rating than, you know, a 3-star right down the middle rating? Take a look at his next one, Discount Tire. Again, not much difference there. It's the same Discount Tire scheme we've been treated to year after year after year. It's got the red rims. It's a Mustang. Yep, but nothing different. Again, got to give it a 3 out of 5. I can't give it any more than that because there's no embellishment in it compared from last year to this year. Next up, we move to number 3, Austin Dillon. I like this scheme here. This is nice because this, I think, takes it away from a Dale Earnhardt Sr. type scheme or even a Richard Childress scheme as a whole. Makes it Austin Dillon's. I love the swoop around the 3. You transition from black to charcoal gray to a lighter gray to silver. That, I think, is really, really cool. I love the way that they've embellished it that way. Made it a little bit different than just the regular red, black, and white of the Dow logo. This one, too, I also like because, as I'm going to say later on, this one, they did a little bit more with the hood. They didn't just go with where the hood outline is. They kind of came around on the top of the front wheels with the black. I like that they spread it out a little bit more. It kind of fits around the diamond shape of the logo of Dow on the hood. I like that a lot. This one here, while I can't give it a 5-star rating, it definitely is a 4-star rating. I like this scheme a lot. I like what they did with it. I like how it's more Austin Dillon than trying to do a throwback to a previous 3-car. Next up, we've got his AAA car, and again, another scheme that I really, really like. I mean, they hit it out of the park with the Austin Dillon schemes, at least for this year. Take a look at the side. You've not only got the white arrow pointing to the left, or at least pointing towards forwards, but if you look back behind it, you've got the dark red and the light red arrows. I love this transition. I love how you've got this 3-dimensional look of the arrows behind the arrows in front. Beautiful scheme, beautifully done. Not quite sure if I think it goes well with the number 3, but I'm not going to be picky about that. They spread out the AAA logo on the hood to fill it up. I like that a lot. I think that this is definitely a 4 out of 5-star scheme. So far, the Austin Dillon scheme's absolutely, absolutely amazing. Then we go to this one. Now, this one here, may seem a little bit simple, but again, I really, really like it. It's very clean. It's got that chrome look to it with the gold, and again, it's a throwback to a senior scheme, but this one I think definitely jumps out at you. It's not like you look at it and immediately think, oh, that's Dale Earnhardt Sr. You can see a little bit of Austin Dillon, you can see a little bit of Dale Earnhardt Sr., and ironically enough, I like how the Dow red on the 3 kind of jumps off of the gold as well as the Dow logo on the hood. One pet peeve I do have, and this has happened on a number of the Camaros, is they seem to have the logo on the hood a little bit higher up towards the windshield rather than more in the center of the hood. I kind of wish that's a thing they wouldn't do, but then again, being picky, just the painter in me, this is definitely a 4 out of 5 scheme as well. Again, I mean, who comes up with the paint schemes for Austin Dillon? Unbelievable this season. The American Ethanol, I like the hood logo. I wouldn't have thought of doing that, but I think that's really cool, having the Ethanol E on there rather than just having the American Ethanol logo. I thought that was a nice touch because when you're looking at hoods, you want to have something that is usually more of a squarish shape, and that's exactly what the E is. It's more of a squarish type logo, and then you've got that nice little wave with the red and the blue going down behind it, down towards the lights and down towards the grill. Beautifully, beautifully done. The green on here is amazing with the dark green, light green accents. Beautiful scheme, and again, all the sponsors he has on there and all the colors, they work with the green for the American Ethanol logo. So I think this is definitely a 4 out of 5 scheme as well. It's close. It's really, really close to a 5-star scheme, but there's a couple in here that I think are a little bit better. But, if I were to give this, if I were to go right in the middle, this would be 4.5 stars. Believe me, it's really close to a 5-star. Next up, we've got this one. Okay, this is going to be one of the Austin Dillon ones where I'm maybe going to pick it apart a little bit because I don't like the BassPro.com underneath the hood logo, and this is one of those Camaros where they've taken and they've got the hood down below the hood pins. That's where it ends. That's to them what the hood is. and I don't like it. It just looks like it's cramped up. Looks like it's a teeny tiny little hood on the big nose of the Camaro. I don't care for that. I do like the gold. I do like the red. I do like how the black on the tracker boats and Bash Pro Shops meshes with the black that's down near the side skirts and of course towards the front bumper down there near the splitter. I do like that a lot, but I think the biggest thing for me is that nose. That nose right down towards the lights, from the windshield to the lights. Do not like it. That's why this one for me is a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up we go to Kevin Harvick. Again, kind of like the Brad Keselowski thing, not much different. I don't know what it is about down near the Ford logo on the nose. I don't care for the squarish look there. It just doesn't appeal to me, really. And the fact that this doesn't look a whole heck of a lot different, with the exception of maybe a little bit more spikes on the side, I'm going to just give this one a 3 out of 5. I don't think it's horrible enough to go for a 2 out of 5, but it's definitely not great enough to be up to a 4 out of 5. I've got to put it right in the middle at 3 out of 5 for Harvick. Next up, we go to the Hunt Brothers Pizza car. While I like Hunt Brothers Pizza, again, this doesn't look a lot different from the Hunt Brothers scheme we had down at Xfinity last year. I don't see a whole lot of difference. I like the colors. I like the color scheme. I've always liked the Hunt Brothers colors of the red and the green and the white. But again, not a whole lot jumping out at me. Again, going to rate it a 3 out of 5. Here we go. Now we're starting to get into my territory. This is something that jumps out to me as a painter. One thing that people will know that I love is when you have a car that has a background or is seen in the background. I like to do movie cars. That's why I put a lot of background stuff based off of movies in there. And this, to me, jumps out absolutely 100%. You've got the mountains in the back, you've got that panoramic view, you've got the transition right behind the 4 on the side. If you look, you can see where it transitions from the white up to the blue, which then goes up to the roof. Love that kind of transitional things. The logo fits perfectly on the hood. The one pet peeve I probably would have is I would like to see a little bit more towards on the rear quarter panel. I know they can't really stretch the Busch logo out. Unfortunately, it's a 5-letter word, Busch. So, you can't do much with that. They've got it centered above the rear wheels, so I'm not going to really tear that apart. Not much they can do about that. You've got the Busch can on the side of the cars, right between the 4 and the Busch logo. Really, really like this car. This car, again, it's like that American Ethanol car that Austin Dillon had. I'm going to rate it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's beautiful. I love the panoramic view. It's just a tiny little bit of things that I would like to be different. Don't care for that gap that much over near the rear quarter panels. But aside from that, the beautiful scheme, so it's definitely a 4 out of 5 stars for me. Next up, okay, this one, what were we doing here? I'm not really sure. This is Kevin Harvick's Mobil 1 scheme. It's a plain black, and the flames on it, I don't know. They just don't go. It doesn't go at all. You've got the flames going from the nose up over the hood, and you can see how they don't even go over the top of the front wheels. Why? Why is it just cut off there? And then you go back to the side, and you've got a couple little flames that stick out from underneath the driver's window, and I'm guessing over on the passenger window on the other side. It goes up on the A pillar, it goes on the B pillar, it goes over on the C pillar. This scheme I don't like. I just do not like it. This is going to be one of the few schemes you're going to hear me rate a 1 out of 5. I do not like it. It would have been better if they just went with a plain black scheme. Just have it be like a stealth-looking scheme with no flames on it. The flames just kill this scheme. It's not good. I do not care for it. 1 out of 5 stars for me on this one. Oh, now we're entering in to the 5-star. As soon as I saw this car, I knew for absolute certain it was going to be a 5-star rating because it's got everything going on. Ryan Newman's Oscar Mayer Ford Mustang for Roush Fenway Racing. I mean, look at the hood first off. You go from the nose. The nose is simple. Then you jump back and you get closer to the hood. You end up going into that kind of a dot look there. I don't know if it's dots or if it's diamond, but it's a mesh look. Transitions from the dark orange up into the light orange, and then the light orange transitions back to the hot dogs on the side. That pattern, I mean, somebody went all out on this paint scheme. Absolutely beautiful. It jumps out at you. It's a scheme you cannot miss when it's on the racetrack, and just the intricate detail that went into this is what I really, really like. You've got so many different things going on. You've got the meshing of 3 patterns into each other going from the front to the rear of the car. Absolutely, absolutely love it. And I like, too, how they took the Oscar Mayer logo and they put it on the rear quarter panel and then had hot dogs above the rear wheels, rather than trying to fit an Oscar Mayer logo above the rear wheels. That just wouldn't have worked. They wouldn't have been able to fit it. I think this is a beautiful scheme. It is a 5 out of 5-star rating as far as I'm concerned as a painter. Next up, we're going to move on to Daniel Hemrick's paint schemes. Again, we're going back to that pet peeve. They're going just on the hood, from the windshield down to the hood pins. It looks like you've taken this cat logo, you've crunched it up and tried to fit it on something when you've got this whole big Camaro nose you could work with. Why is it that the hood pins are the boundary for where the scheme and where the hood design has to end? Why can't it go down to the nose just above that Chevy Camaro bow tie, down on the on the nose between the headlights? I don't understand that. I do like the transition from the gold to the back where the black is just before Caterpillar. So if we basically took the car and cut it in half from the front to the back, I would love the back, but I would hate the front. So unfortunately, that's going to put it down as far as the star rating. Nothing I don't really care for, and I know some people aren't going to agree with this, but I liked the Daniel Hemrick number 8 that we saw last year when he ran that Smoky Mountain Herbal Snuff. A lot better than what we've got this season. I don't know if they were going for something based off of the Ryan Newman 31 look or what they were going for here. I don't care for the blocky look of the 8. I don't really care for that font. So unfortunately for me, this one's going to come out with a 2 out of 5 stars. Next up, we move to the Bass Pro Shops car, and this is again very similar to the Austin Dillon car, so I'm going to have the exact same pet peeves on this car that I had before. I do not like the BassPro.com underneath the Bass Pro Shops logo there on the nose, and I guess I'm just going to also throw out there again, I don't care for that blocky look on the number font, so this one for me, it's going to be a 2 out of 5 stars again. Next up, we're going to go to Tracker Boats and Bass Pro Shops. Again, we're going with the same pet peeves. I also am not really that big on the base scheme. I don't know what it is about the base scheme that I don't care for, but I think I like the nose back above, back behind the front wheel. I like that spike, but there's just something about the other part from behind the front wheel to the back of the car. I don't care for that as much. Maybe it's because of the coloring. Maybe if it was a different color, maybe I'd like it more, but I'm not really sure. And then again, I don't like the BassPro.com logo there underneath the hood, and I do not like the blocky number 8 number font. So this one, again, sorry Hemrick, but it's another scheme that's only going to get a 2 out of 5 as far as I'm concerned. Next up, we've got the Alsco sponsorship on this car, and this car I think is going to probably be a little bit higher just based on I do like a couple of things that they've done with this car as opposed to the cars that were previously done. First off, you can see the Alsco sponsorship is stretched out. They're using all the hood. You can see that the green transition from the side to the hood, it's all above that, above the headlights and everything. They stretched it out. They used all the hood. They didn't condense it up above the hood pins. That is something I like. Only pet peeve I really have about this car, I don't care for the blocky number font. So this one, not going to be a 2 out of 5 stars. I'm putting it up to a 3 out of 5 stars. This one, to me, I think is the best Hemrick scheme that I've seen so far. Now we're moving to this Liberty National car. This one, I don't know why they decided to go from green directly to blue. There needed to be something there to break it up. You've got the white in the number, so why didn't we have a white line transitioning the green to the blue? They just cut it right from green to blue. And I don't like how they've made it very like a blocky straight cut. I mean, if you look down in front of the front wheel, it's a straight line. There's no curve to it. It is a straight line. I do not care for that at all. I do like the fact they've used the whole hood with Liberty National. They've stretched it out, so they've used the whole hood in that regard. But this, I just don't care for the base. The base doesn't look good. I don't know why they've got, with the A, B, and C pillar being green, it just looks like it's in the middle of nowhere on the side of both sides of the car. And again, I don't care for the blocky number font on the number 8. This one, boy, it's pretty bad that the other ones are 2 out of 5 stars. This one, to me, it's a 1 out of 5. I don't care for this one at all. Next up, we're moving to Chase Elliott, and we're going to Brad Keselowski Town and Kevin Harvick Town, I guess, because it's a scheme that looks exactly like a scheme he's run before. Nothing different. Everything's basically the same. what can I say? 3 out of 5 stars for Chase Elliott's Napa car. Next up, we go to his Mountain Dew car. This one, again, not a whole lot that's changed. I kind of think they could have done a little bit more with this. Again, 3 out of 5 stars. It doesn't look a lot different from what he ran last season. I do like the scheme. There's nothing wrong with the scheme. Although, you know, what happened to the Mountain Dew spikes? I remember when Dale Earnhardt Jr. drove Mountain Dew, we had those kind of spikes. We could have done something like that on the side of the car, couldn't we? We've got the green. We've got that kind of lime green. We could have put some, you know, light green, dark green spikes with the white outline, the silver accent. We could have put that on the side, embellish it a little bit more, but nope, we kept it with a simple green base and then the black stripes going from the nose back to the rear of the car. It's not bad, but it's nothing different. 3 out of 5 stars. Next, we go to a slightly different Hooters scheme. And I do like this. This is definitely a nice scheme. This is definitely a clean scheme. The one thing that I do have a little bit of an issue with is I don't realize why it's such a blocky kind of transition down in front of the front wheel on the nose, down near the splitter. I think we would have been better off kind of transitioning that into a diagonal down towards the center of the nose. I guess they're trying to keep it in fitting with towards the rear quarter panel where it kind of goes to a rounded square edge. And so I guess they were trying to do that there. You can't really see it, though, because it's covered over by the contigs on the nose. So I guess it's there, the same thing. It goes along with the rounded edges. Okay, I'm not really going to get upset about that. This is a good scheme. This is a good scheme. I like it a lot. We're going to give it a 4 out of 5 rating. I love, too, that they've taken the Hooters. They've used the whole car. They've got the owl going all the way down to the nose, the cutoff of the nose. That is what you do with logos on the hood. Very well done. Now we got the Kelley Blue Book, number 9. This scheme is fire. This is a beautiful, beautiful scheme. I love the spikes that go from the front wheel towards the side. Unbelievable job. The blue with the gold accent just jumps out at you. Really like this. They use the ribbon from the windshield down to the nose, using the whole hood for the logo. Beautiful, beautiful scheme. This one, oh man, I really want to give it a 5-star rating. I do. You know what? It's the best scheme he's got this season. I'm giving it a 5-star rating. 5-star rating to the Kelley Blue Book car because this car is beautiful. It's so much going on from the front to the side. You don't even need to worry about putting anything on the back of the car. It can stay that white. I really like this scheme. Beautiful scheme. It's going to be a 5-star. Now we got Eric Almirola's. I love the Smithfield scheme. The Smithfield scheme is beautiful. I liked it when it was blue, and I liked it when it was black and white. The scheme last season was beautiful. I think my favorite one was that Bacon car that he ran when he won the race at Talladega Superspeedway. Again, though, not a whole lot of difference going on here. I know there is a little bit of difference on the side in how the design is, but not a whole lot of difference. But, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I completely agree with the call of making the scheme look similar. We're giving it a 3 out of 5-star rating. This car, Denny Hamlin, oh my goodness. They pulled out all the stops on this one. We've been treated to solid black FedEx cars. We've been treated to solid purple FedEx cars. This car is amazing because, you know, this makes sense. This makes a whole heck of a lot of sense to have the main color focus be white, because for those of you that have been delivered to by FedEx trucks, who's ever been delivered to by a purple FedEx truck? They don't exist. They're white. Why not have your car be the same color as the delivery trucks that you have in your stable? It just makes sense. I love how the purple is the accent here and the orange is the outline color. This scheme is beautiful, it's clean, it's fresh. To me, this is one of the best schemes that Denny Hamlin has had in a long time. I don't know if they were using the white as the primary color to throw back to when the 11 made his debut with Jason Leffler, in the what is now Monster Energy Cup Series, but I think back then it was, the Nextel Cup Series, but I'm not certain. But I love this scheme. Scheme is beautiful. We're giving it a 4 out of 5 rating. It would be a 4.5 stars out of 5 if I had that kind of a rating system. Next up, we've got the PP&G, or PPG, I guess it would be. I don't know if it's PP&G or PPG. I call it one or the other. Ryan Blaney's number 12. Two things I don't care for on this scheme, and they're the only things that I don't care for. Number one, I do not care for the fact that it's just, the PPG logo on the side. I understand there's not much they can really do about it. It's a blocky sponsor, so they have to put it back behind the rear wheel. But one thing that I don't care for is they put the sponsor back there, and then you have nothing from there to the number on the side. It's just blank. So you know, I understand it's the sponsor, it's the logo, you've got to use the logo that sponsors the car. It's just a little pet peeve of mine. The other thing I don't care for, I don't know why they've got the white rims on this car. It doesn't really make much sense because it's not like they're transitioning to anything. The only thing you've got down there near the rims is that rainbow color on the side. Why not have the rims be a rainbow color then if you're going to have it match up with the scheme? The white rims just don't go with it. But I love this scheme, and I think the big touch that I like the best that they have on this scheme, if you look from the side going back towards the rear quarter panel, you've got streaks. That's the paint. That's the paint streaking. It's as if you're saying this car goes fast. It's literally having the paint go towards the rear of the car. That, I think, was a cool little tidbit they threw in, a little Easter egg they threw in there. I like that a lot. I think that was a very nice touch. And so, for that reason, this scheme is getting a 4 out of 5 rating. Next up, we've got Ryan Blaney's, and this one was actually, I think, just released a couple of days ago. I only just saw it today. How do you pronounce it? Knopf? Is that how you would pronounce it? Knopf Menard's car. I love this scheme. This scheme is amazing. Why? Because it takes two different colors you wouldn't think would go together well, and it merges them together perfectly. The kind of teal robin's egg blue with the gold Menards. Beautiful, beautiful transition, as you've also got the Menards orange swoop in there over the front wheels, heading back towards the side of the car. This car, absolutely amazing. And this is a thing that I noticed too, is it kind of almost looks a little bit too like a throwback to the Pennzoil scheme that Joey Logano ran. If you look just a tiny little bit there, I really like this scheme. This scheme is beautiful. I love the two different colors, how they work together. This is getting a 4 out of 5 rating from me. Now we go to a if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Twisted T logo, the Twisted T Chevrolet, I should say, for Ty Dillon. They've used the logo, stretched it out, used the entire hood. Absolutely beautiful. I know this is an if it ain't broke, don't fix it thing, and most of them I've been giving a 3 out of 5 stars. I really want to give this one a 4 out of 5 stars, but just to be in keeping, it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's nothing really different. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 star, but I would probably give this one, if I had that half star, it'd be 3.5 stars as far as I'm concerned. We don't have his Geico scheme yet, apparently, so we'll be waiting for that one. Obviously, me as a Casey Mears fan, when he drove Geico in the 13, I've always liked that scheme, even if it isn't Casey Mears necessarily behind the wheel of the 13 anymore. Moving on to Clint Bowyer's number 14, the Rush Truck Center's Ford Mustang. This one to me seemed a little bit simple. And the only reason for that is because all you've got is the V, the yellow V going from the nose back to the side. You've got a little bit of red down there near the bottom towards behind the front wheels. Then it's black all the way back. Again, one of those logos you can't do much with to be able to have it above the tire. They've got it at a 45-degree angle going up from behind the rear tire. I like that, but look at the gap from the logo up to the 14 on the door. Again, pet peeve of mine. So while I do like the fact that they've thrown a little bit of things in there to be able to make it fun in terms of the logo on the rear, I don't care really for what they've done for the base. So for that reason, I'm going to be giving this scheme a 3 out of 5 rating. Next up, we've got Clint Bowyer's number 14 Blue Def Ford. This scheme, a lot better on the base scheme, definitely. I like the transition of colors. You've got the dark blue behind the front wheel going to the light blue, going to a little bit darker blue again as you get closer to the rear of the car. You've got the transition underneath there of the dark gray to the light gray, and then you've got the black. Brings out the colors beautifully based off of what the logo is. Again, a logo that's used the whole hood. Love it, love it, love it. For that reason, this is a beautiful scheme. I love the colors that they used. I love the transition on the side. This scheme is getting a 4 out of 5 rating. Next up, we've got the Peak Performance Ford for Clint Bowyer. Again, everything that I just said, let's transition it over and say the exact same thing about this scheme. I think I like, too, the fact that they used the black on the roof. If I were painting the car, I probably would have had it be the blue that's on the hood where it transitions back there. I do like the black though. The black does fit very nicely, and it also allows the 14 on the roof to be able to jump out because it's got the nice blue accent. It's a 4 out of 5 rating for me, and it would probably be a 4.5 star rating for me. It's not quite a 5, but it's right there on the cusp of this paint scheme for Clint Bowyer. Next up, we go to Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s Fastenal car. This is another of those cars where if I could dissect it and take part of the car away, it would probably be up there at a 4-star rating. What do I not like? Do not like the hood. of this car, and the nose in particular. Because if you look there, it's again one of those things where it's just a cutoff between the two different colors, the blue and the black. There's no transitional color. It's just a dead cutoff between the two different colors. You've got that mesh look with the black as well, which makes that jump out, and it kind of delivers the fact that the two colors really aren't meshing together in any way, shape, or form. I don't really care for that. But if I jump back and I look at the side of the car, I really like that. I like that swoop that they've got there on the side with the blue, the white, the silver. I like how they've been able to mesh the black mesh look with the blue and the silver and the gray. It's a beautiful scheme from there on back, but for the sake of the fact that the nose does not look good, I'm going to have to give this one right down the middle. It's a 3 out of 5. Now we go to another, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is a very familiar scheme, the 5th third banking Ford for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Not much different, and it's a great looking scheme. It's a beautiful scheme. I like how they use the colors of the logo. I can't really say anything bad about this scheme, and I can't say anything tremendous about this scheme. Right down the middle, 3 out of 5. Now we come into maybe, in my opinion, one of the top 3 best schemes that was released. This car, unbelievable. I have a feeling the person that did the base scheme, or did the scheme for Brian Newman's Oscar Mayer car, probably did this one, because this brings so much to the party. Let's start from the hood and start on the nose. You've got there the Sunny D stretched out all the way across the nose from one tire to the other tire. That is amazing. You've got behind it, you've got the orange, but then you've also got those light orange dots. You transition to the blue, and while it doesn't really look like here, if you take a look at the live pictures that were taken when the scheme was unveiled, it's like a stealth blue. It's like a metallic blue. It's beautiful. It's not just plain blue. It literally looks like a brushed metal blue. It is gorgeous. Then you transition down, you've got on the side, you've got that kind of burst yellow, back to the orange, back to the burst yellow as you get closer to the back. This scheme is, in my opinion, one of the best schemes that has been made. Again, the pet peeve of mine though, you've got the Sunny D there on the side above the rear wheels, and then there's nothing on the way back to the rear of the car. But for the base scheme alone, and the way that they've got it on the hood, and the fact that this is a car you cannot miss just based on how the paint scheme looks, I really wish they had something back there. I mean, why not a sun? Put a sun back there behind Sunny D on the rear quarter panels. That would have been cool. But aside from that, it's a beautiful scheme. It's going to get a 5-star rating from me, because it even looks better in person. If you take a look at the photos that were taken of the car, it is a beautiful, beautiful paint scheme. Next up, we go to Kyle Busch, the M&M's Toyota. Not a lot of difference here. I know that they've got some schemes that they're planning on releasing during the course of the year, you know, with different M&M styles. It's an if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is maybe one of my favorite teams to watch for their paint schemes, because I love what they do with the M&M schemes. A lot of schemes that I have done based off of M&Ms and based off of Snickers have revolved around this. So obviously I like the M&M's paint schemes, but right down the middle, it's not much different. It's a 3 out of 5 star. This one here, I gotta say, I'm kind of 50-50 about the Interstate Batteries cars now. This seemed to be what they went to when they went over to Toyota. I'm an old school guy. I like the Interstate Batteries cars that they had back when Bobby Labonte was driving the car. Even back to when J.J. Yeley was driving the car in 2007, you had that kind of lightning look. This is not bad. This is not bad. These kind of faces are not bad at all for Interstate Batteries. I like how they've got the kind of ripped look on the hood. It's a good scheme. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I am more of a nostalgic person. I like the older Interstate Batteries looks, but this is a good scheme. It's not much different from what we've seen Kyle Busch drive before. 3 out of 5 stars. Now we go to Martin Truex Jr. This is basically, what did they do? They took the base scheme that they ran last season and they put it on the 19 this season. There's nothing much different. They do have here something that I like better on the Toyota than I liked on the Chevy. Remember when I was looking at Daniel Hemrick and I was looking at Austin Dillon and I was saying I don't really care for the BassProShop.com logo underneath the Bass Pro Shops logo on the hood. This one I actually like. Why? Because the Toyota has a longer nose. It can fit on there. It fits nicely above the Toyota emblem on the nose. I do like how that fits on a Toyota. It doesn't fit on a Chevrolet. This scheme, though, it's not a whole heck of a lot different in the base as opposed to his 2018 scheme when he drove the 78, but based on the fact I do like they've done a little bit different with the hood, and I do like how the 19 looks, we're going to give it a 3 out of 5 star rating. It would be a 3.5 star rating if we had the half star, which we don't, so let's move on. Next up, we've got Martrix Jr. in the Auto Owners number 19. This is a good scheme. This scheme takes in the transition of the blue back to the, I don't even think that's really black. It's like more of a bluish black, like a blue mist black. And we've also got as well the A for Auto Trader there, or Auto Owners rather, on the hood. I like that. I like the blocky look on the hood of the dark blue, the light shader of blue, kind of like a teal blue. I do like that. The only thing that I probably wouldn't care for on this scheme, and this is the weird thing, is I don't care for the number. I don't care really for the 19 on this car. I would have maybe preferred to see a different number, because the 19 is more of a kind of condensed, thinner number. The 78 spread out, which is why it kind of looked better when he had Auto Owners as a sponsor. That's just a pet peeve of mine, though. It's a good scheme. It's a beautiful scheme. A lot of detail went into it. It's getting a 4 out of 5 rating from me. Next up, we move to Eric Jones, the number 20, the DeWalt number 20 Toyota Camry. This scheme, not really a whole lot of difference, but I do like it. It's a beautiful scheme. They didn't try to do too much with this, which is a good thing. Sometimes if you do too much, you go over the edge. I do like how they've just basically stuck with the gold and the black for DeWalt. I do also like how they've got that kind of cut on the hood to be able to fit the DeWalt logo in and not have it be where the black stripe goes down behind it. That I think is a nice touch. And I also like how the 20 jumps out at you. You've got gold, you've got black, but then you got this white number. So it jumps out at you. I do like this scheme. I'm going to get this one. I'm going outside the box. This one, to me, I think is a clean scheme. I think it's a nice-looking scheme. I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5 rating. I know it's kind of a same old, but I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 rating because I just like the way that this car looks. I like how the colors merge together, and I like how they did something, but they didn't do too much. Next up, we got Eric Jones, Craftsman number 20. This one, I like his DeWalt one a lot better. Let's put it that way. You've got a nice transition of the red to the black, although up towards underneath the driver's window back to the rear of the car, there's not much transition. I would have liked better if they had a little bit more transition from the red to the black, have it be a little softer rather than just a straight cutoff. More like what they did down underneath the 20 on the side. You can see where it's a little bit more of a red to black transition. It would have been nicer if they'd done that. This one, it's simple, but it's not terrible. So I'm putting this one at a 3 of 5 star rating because it's okay, but it doesn't jump out at you. Next, we've got the very familiar number 21, the Wood Brothers Ford for Paul Menard. Beautiful scheme. They didn't really do a whole lot of changes on this one, which honestly, I probably would have been disappointed if they did. So I do like that they didn't really change a lot about it. I don't know what it is about the Fords and the Toyotas, but just the hoods look a lot better than the Chevy Camaros do in terms of paint schemes. So the fact they've got that nice red bordered by black going around the hood, it's perfect. It goes back to the roof. It goes back to the rear deck lid. It's a beautiful paint scheme. It just shouts Wood Brothers. And the fact that they kind of kept it the way it should be, this is definitely a 3 out of 5 star rating for me. William Byron, the Exalta Flame car. This to me is the best paint scheme that William Byron has driven since he's come up to the Cup Series. It's not a whole lot of change, not a whole lot of difference in what he ran last year, but it's still a beautiful scheme. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 star rating. Now we've got his Hertz car. This one, I have to be honest, disappointed me. His Hertz scheme last year was better than this year. At least last year it had a little bit of detail on it. This year, it's a plain yellow car. Plain yellow car with the black sponsor and the black number. What? Really? Is that all we're going to do on it? I'm sorry, William Byron. You may be my favorite driver in NASCAR right now, but whoever painted this scheme, they did not really put a whole lot of thought of it. For this reason, it's a 1 out of 5 star rating for that 24 car. It is not good. Next up, we've got the Liberty University car. I don't know. I ended up, when this diecast came out last year, I bought it just based on the fact that I like Liberty University and I like William Byron. But I was a little disappointed with the scheme, and I'm a little disappointed with the scheme this season. I understand that they're the Liberty University Flames. That's why we've got the flames going back from the front wheels. But I just think we could have done a little bit more with this. It just looks a little too simple to me. Even his Liberty University truck, when he drove for Kyle Busch Motorsports, looked better than this. Why didn't they go with the white Liberty University look that he drove down the Xfinity Series? That would have looked better than this. I don't know. It's same old, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 star rating, but I just think this could be so much better. I just think it could have been a lot better, and it's really disappointing to me. Next, we go to the UniFirst car for William Byron. I don't know why, but this scheme looked so much better when Casey Kane drove it when he was in the 5. It just does not really jump out at me that much. The base is alright, but it just doesn't fit with the 24 and everything. I'm going to have to give this one a 2 out of 5 star rating. I'm just not real big on it. I don't know. Why do we have the spike on the side, that top spike, that green spike, going back behind the top of the 24 on the side? Why isn't that going all the way to the back? Why does it stop at the UniFirst logo? We've got just this plain black, or plain white look on the rear quarter panel. That's it. There's nothing there. I don't care for that. Now we've got the number 32, Corey LaJoie, out of Go Fast Racing. The, how do you pronounce that? Schuler? Is it Schuler Systems or Schutler Systems? I'm not sure which one. Or Schulter Systems, I guess. This I like. And I don't know what it is, but sometimes the smaller teams always seem to come out with the better paint schemes. Go figure. You've got the orange, you've got the black, but I like you've got that kind of, I don't even know what you would call it. Is it like a tile look on the nose, as well as going back by the side skirts towards the rear quarter panel? This is a really nice scheme. I like it a lot. It jumps out at you. It's a nice use of the color scheme. This one, to me, it's a smaller team, but I got to give this one a 4 out of 5 star rating because I like what they did. I like how they've got the different pattern there. It jumps out at you, makes it look three-dimensional. They did a really nice job on this Corey LaJoie scheme. Then we got the Corvette parts as well as Keen parts on his number 32. This scheme, again, beautifully, beautifully done. While this one doesn't jump out at me quite as much as the one that we just saw does, I can't say that this is a horrible scheme, so I'm going to put this one right down the middle. This one's getting a 3 out of 5 star rating. Now we're going to move on to Chris Buescher's number 37. I understand what they were going for here. They were going for different things on different months. I love the base schemes. If you just took all the sponsors off and had the base schemes are beautiful. I wish we could see a little bit more of the side of these cars. All we get to see is the roof, rear decklet, and the hood. The roof's fine. The rear decklet's fine. But I don't care for how everything is spread out on the hood. It just kind of looks like you've thrown something on there in hopes that it, it all kind of fits together in an intricate puzzle, and it just doesn't. I don't really care for that. I think if I were to pick the two that I like the most, it would be the third one, the red one there, and then maybe the next to last one, the yellow one. But even then, I'm not real big on these. So, if I have to do them as a collective, I'm going to give them a collective 3 out of 5. I think their redeeming grace is the color of the base, the transition. You've got, in that center one, you've got white to yellow to red to black. You've got on the furthest one to the right, you've got the black to charcoal gray to black. The second one, you've got the green back to the kind of sky blue. I like the transitions. I like them a lot. I just don't care for the way they've got the sponsors lined up on the hoods. So I'm going to put it right down the middle. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Next, we've got the Kleenex number 37. I like this car, but I don't like this car. I don't know what. I don't know what it is that I don't like about it. Maybe it just kind of looks a little blah on the hood. The base is beautiful. You've got that kind of spongy look. Like if you took a sponge and you dabbed it in paint and you just dabbed it around, that's what this kind of looks like. I like also, one thing that I've always liked about the JTG Daughtery cars is, they've got all these sponsors, so some people might think it looks cluttered from the number back to the rear quarter panel. My opinion, I really like that look. So maybe just because it looks cluttered and has all those sponsors from the rear of the side number back to the rear quarter panel, and then up towards the front, all you've got is Kleenex wet wipes. Kind of looks a little bland, but still, it's a good scheme. I do like this one. It's definitely a lot better than the schemes we saw before. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. Now we go to Jamie McMurray, and, oh boy, wow. I mean, I love the fact McDonald's came back and is sponsoring him for the Daytona 500. There's just two things I don't care for. Number one, I don't care for the 40 font. I don't know why. I don't know if this is the same 40 font that Ganassi had or not, but for some reason it looks a little bit different to me, and I just don't seem to care for it. Another thing I don't care for as well is if you look back behind the numbers on the side, my dogs are barking at something. If you look back at the number on the side, back behind it, I don't care for the kind of, I don't know, it's very straight angles. I kind of think we should have done maybe like a red to black transition towards the back. That I think would have fit a lot better. I just don't care for that. But due to the fact that I do like the McDonald's sponsorship, I do like the, how the Cessna's back on the black, the McDonald's is up on the red. I'm not going to be too particularly picky, so I'll put it right down the middle at 3 out of 5. But I think if the number font had looked a little bit more Ganassi-like and we'd have had a better transition from the red to the black on the side, I think this could have been a scheme that might have been a little simple looking, but I think could have been up there at a 5-star rating. But it is what it is. We're going to put it at 3 stars. Next, we go to the Advent Health car. This scheme, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Next, we're going to go to the Advent Health car. Apparently, I zoomed in on it. There we go. This scheme, to me, is beautiful. The base is beautiful. Again, I just don't care for the number. Obviously, this isn't a Ganassi car, I don't think. I don't know if this is a Ganassi car or not. Yeah, I guess maybe it is a Ganassi car. He's running this for the Clash. So I guess this one is a Ganassi car. Again, I just don't care for that 40, the way that number font is. But aside from that, the base scheme is beautiful. So if we're taking away just the fact of what the number font looks like, this to me, for a small team and a guy that's coming back just running the Clash in the Daytona 500, this is a 4 out of 5 star rated scheme as far as I'm concerned. Next, we've got the Stewart Haas Racing number 41 for Daniel Suarez. This one, they went a little bit different. I don't really remember there being a camouflage look on the rear of the car. I like this. I don't know what made them decide to do that. I don't know if that's something to do with Eris, or if they just decided let's put some camo on the back, but I like this a lot. I like this a lot. This is a nice scheme. They got the red to black transition into the camo. So I think that I would definitely rate this one a 4 out of 5 star. Kyle Larson's number 42, Credit One Bank. This one, there's not a whole lot of difference between this and what he drove last season. There is a little bit of difference, I know, on the side, but they've got more blue in it, which I do like. So with the fact they did change this one up just a little bit, I do like the way this car looks. I do like they have a lot more blue in it. I'm going to put this one would have probably, if they did nothing really different, probably would have had it at 3 out of 5 stars. This one's going to be a 4 out of 5 stars as far as I'm concerned. So nice scheme. I like how they focus more on blue, because that's basically the main color for Credit One. I do like that scheme. Like it a lot. You can't go wrong when you're doing U.S. Air Force schemes. Darrell Wallace Jr., U.S. Air Force, Chevrolet for Richard Petty Motorsports. This car is beautiful. Even the Richard Petty Motorsports swoops don't take away from it on the side. I like this car a lot. It kind of gives me the vibes of what Eric Almirola had back when he drove the 43. The Lightning is beautiful. The transition from the nose back to the side, even up to the roof. Like this car a lot. Maybe I wouldn't have had the 43 on the top be red. I know they're throwing it back to the King, who had the 43 red on his car. But aside from that, this car is lovely. Lovely, 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 lovely. It's a 5 out of 5 star rating from me. Okay, this one here, is, I don't know, it has a little bit of controversy around it, and I'll just bring this up in just a moment, but this is the Plan B sales car. They had a whole contest going on over on their Facebook page where people could paint. I didn't even know about it, but I don't know if I would have entered it or not. This was the winning scheme, apparently. The thing that I like about this is it transitions in with the Richard Petty swoops. You've got Plan B sales with kind of like the black, the kind of robin's egg blue, white, a little bit lighter of a blue. It fits in so well with the robin's egg blue and white of the Petty swoops. Love, love, love how it fits. I like how you've got that kind of brushed metal look gray on the nose, on the A, B, and C pillar. This is a beautiful scheme. This scheme is getting a 5 out of 5 star rating from me, but the thing that I found interesting is I went back, I looked at the contest, and I couldn't find this scheme listed in the pictures for the finalists. How did we come up with this scheme if it wasn't one of the finalists? I don't know. It was very interesting. But anyway, 5 out of 5 star rating from me. Next, we've got the Aftershock sponsorship. This car, I think, just came out in the last week. And boy, wow, he was doing good. He had 2 5 out of 5 star rating schemes. This one, it's a 2 out of 5 star from me. Why? Well, I do like how you've got the kind of wave look to it, because obviously we're dealing with sound with aftershocks, but I don't care for a black hood going back to the blue. It just doesn't fit. You've made an orange Richard Petty swoop. I don't like that. This just does not look like a Richard Petty motorsports scheme, and I just don't care for the color scheme of it. It's 2 out of 5 stars. Ryan Preece, moving over to JTG Daughtery Racing. This is a beautiful, beautiful car. One thing that people didn't care for, but they didn't care for the red stripe on the nose going from one headlight to the other headlight. I actually like that. I like how you've kind of taken the wider round nose and hood area and you've kind of squared it off. I think that was a good little touch there. I like that a lot. He also helps fit in the Kroger logo up above it, and then I just love the side. I can't get over the side. You've got that kind of wood brushed blue on the star. It goes back to the kind of ripped flag look on the stripes, and then it transitions back to the back. And again, like I said, with the JTG Daughtery cars, how they have the sponsors kind of peppering the whole thing. Some people say it's cluttered. I love it. This scheme, to me, I think is unbelievable, and I'm giving this one a 5 out of 5 star rating. I'm getting generous with my stars all of a sudden. Alright, now we move on to Jimmy Johnson's number 48. Of course, he's getting sponsored by Ally this season. If I were to take and dissect this car, I like the hood. A lot of people thought it looked kind of cluttery. They weren't really sure what to make of it. I do like the hood. I like how you've got the transition from the white to the pink to the darker pink purple. I do like that. I like how you've got the kind of Ally, I don't know, it's kind of like a sound wave look around the front wheels. What I don't like is the rear. I kind of wish we had done a little bit more with that. Even if we kept it black all the way back, I think it would have looked better. I don't care for how we've used that sound wave look from the kind of halo look of the pink to the purple around the Ally logo on the rear quarter panels. That just doesn't fit to me. I just recently painted a scheme for somebody that was based off of this car, and I added more to the side to the rear. It brought the car out a lot better, I thought. But, you know, if I were to rate this car, I probably would give this, just based on that I liked how they did the front, this would be a 3 out of 5 star rated car for me. And I think if it had been black all the way back, I think it would have been able to be a 4-star rated. I just don't care for what they've done in that rear quarter panel. Alex Bowman, his number 88 Nationwide Insurance Chevy Camaro. And I was talking with an Alex Bowman fan, and he agrees with me that this is maybe the worst paint scheme that Alex Bowman has had since he joined Hendrick Motorsports in terms of Nationwide Insurance. I'm not really sure what they were going for here. Especially my biggest problem is if you look down here at what we're looking at right front and center, right down in front of the front wheel, you can see how it's not a nice curve down from above the wheel down to the nose. It is literally a 45-degree angle type thing. Why were we doing it that way? Why is it a straight line? It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't look good. Maybe it'll look good on the track and we won't notice it, but when it's standing still and you're getting a still shot picture, don't care for that. Don't care for that at all. I also wish we kind of would have done a little bit more with this. I mean, his scheme last year was really, really good. We just basically have it blue down the center, white on the sides, and then you got the blue side skirts. Now, while I will say it kind of gives me a little bit of vibes of back when Brad Keselowski drove the number 88 Navy car on the side there, I don't care for this scheme. It's 2 out of 5 stars. Next up, we've got the number 88 for Alex Bowman, his Valvoline scheme. And this scheme, I think, is a nice scheme. This is a very good scheme. I'm very impressed with it. The one thing that I kind of maybe would have changed on it is not have the red line that goes from the A-pillar down around the nose and then back up to the other A-pillar. I think we could have done without that. It would have looked clean with just having a regular white hood. You've got the colors of Valvoline with the red, lighter blue, darker blue, back to the very dark blue, heading towards the rear of the car. I think the only thing I would have gotten rid of was just that line. Other than that, I think it would have been a very nice looking scheme. We're not really going to down it for the fact that the line is there. We're going to rate it a 3 out of 5. Next up, we've got, I don't know, again, I don't know what it is with the people that are painting the Hendrick cars, but it just, some of them aren't good this year. They really aren't. This is, Lumiere or Lumar, I don't know how you would even pronounce it, Windows, and this is just not good. It's not a good scheme at all. You might have been able to do something if you didn't have that teal blue. Where does that teal blue number come from? Where in the sponsorship do you see anything that's teal blue? It's black, a kind of burnt orange red, and a burnt orange. And of course you've got that on the side with that kind of flame look, but where does that teal blue come from for the number font? Not good. Not good at all. I'm so sorry, Alex Bowman. I think this is the second Hendrick Motorsports car that I've given a 1-star rating to, but it's a 1-star rating for me, 1 out of 5. And last but not least, we've got the number 95 Procore Toyota Camry. This is Matt DiBenedetto, and he's, of course, driving for Levine Family Racing this season. Paint scheme is beautiful. Love how they've used the black, the orange, the white from the sponsorship on there. Only thing I don't care for, and I think a couple of other people have commented on this as well, I kind of wish they didn't have the number be a yellow color. I don't know if white would necessarily look better. I just don't know. I don't care for the yellow that much as far as the number on there. It just doesn't seem to fit with the color scheme. But aside from that, it's a beautiful scheme. It's nice and clean. I'm going to put this one right down the middle. We're giving it a 3 out of 5-star rating. So that is it, folks. That is how I would rate these cars based off of being a painter of schemes on NR 2003. How I would rate them in terms of their detail, in terms of how it jumps out at you, in terms of what could be improved, in terms of what basically would need to be taken away, in terms of what fits, in terms of what doesn't fit. Let me know down in the comments below which one is your favorite scheme so far this season, and what are your opinions on some of the schemes as well. Is there anything that you agree with me, disagree with me on? Let me know in the comments. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm just basically giving my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that you're wrong. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and that's what makes the world go round. But thank you everybody for tuning in to this not diecast, it's actually actual cars. This 2019 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series paint scheme review. I will see you guys later. I'm out.